Welcome back, tribe. Have a video here. It says why Colombian Latinas are killing men, lonely men, for profit. What in the world?
Atlanta. A 28-year-old software developer from Atlanta wakes up alone in a hotel room 1,975 miles from home. The room is just completely trashed and he has no memory of the night before. Scrambling for a phone that is no longer there, he notices empty bottles on the nightstand, sheets pulled off the bed, and panic starts to set in. He swipes the clothes on the floor to check for his wallet, his bag, even his expensive work watch. All gone. The more his eyes dart across the room looking around, the more painful his headache becomes. This wasn't a normal hangover. There's a metal taste in his mouth and his stomach is starting to cramp. Marcus can hardly think straight and just wants to go home. But at least my passport is still secure, he thinks. But then he sees it. The door of the hotel safe, wide open and empty. Anxiety turns to dread. They took everything. But just a few days ago, everything was fine. So
yeah, it's like the story of what happened to that German dude. He made a video I know we covered. He's like begging for help. He woke up with a whole bunch of his stuff missing. They emptied out all his accounts, I think, even for, what was that? His crypto accounts and everything. I mean, they robbed this dude blind, pretty much. Yeah, he got screwed. Majorly.
what happened? His memory was blank besides the faintest hint of perfume and cigarette smoke. He closed his eyes and could hear the echo of clicking high heels on a marble floor, a woman's voice speaking rapid Spanish down the phone. And then from that, a word sounded through the pain in his head.
And it happened because the guy talked to two girls and like an idiot. This is what happens. If you're a simp in America, you get simped out and everywhere else. The problem is in here. Wherever you go, there you are. The guy thought he got two baddies that wanted to really have sex with him. So he brought two girls to his hotel room and then they drugged his ass and took all his shit like a fucking moron.
It was a name, Camilla. A week ago, Marcus sat in his apartment staring at his phone in total silence. He'd been messaging an American woman for 2 weeks. It felt like real conversations, not just small talk. She'd actually engaged with his story. She asked about his work and seemed genuinely interested.
Professionals.
For the first time in months, he felt like maybe he was getting somewhere. Like maybe he'd finally broken through that invisible wall that seemed to exist between him and the opposite gender. After a couple of beers, he asked. A simple dinner invitation, nothing pushy. She read this message, and then there was no reply. A typical thing for him. Typical. He just had that feeling again that he couldn't shake. This woman was another in a sequence of rejection. His heart grew colder and his perspective dimmer and darker. Late that night, he found himself in a familiar territory. He'd been searching Medellin for months, partly because he'd heard good things from people he knew, but also because of the content that had been piped into his feed. Non-stop videos of these guys filming themselves on GoPros, partying with beautiful women in exotic places, where you could just be with a beautiful, wholesome woman, drinking cheap beers on an exotic beach, speaking some broken Spanish, and really just enjoying life. And all it seemed to take was a plane flight. Marcus understood that he was in a vulnerable state, but he just couldn't stop himself. How could you? How could you even resist the temptation of this? He'd started off just watching simple dating content or discussions on how romance in the Western world had changed. But after getting recommended content showing how much different dating abroad was and the seemingly infinite upside you get as a young American bachelor with some cash, he grew more and more desperate, and now he just needed one little push. Maybe it was that last chat he had with the woman, or perhaps the powerful influences telling him how Western women take everything from men and give nothing back. He found his thoughts changing. Earlier that very same day, he found himself snapping at another bland girl, spilling coffee in his arm, the same as all the rest, useless now to get him. He didn't know what was happening to his mind, but he felt profanities echo around it in women's presence. Sinking another drink, his finger hovered over the confirm button for his flight, and he clicked.
Flying overseas for pussy. You see what happens when you put women first in your life? Always ends horribly. I've said it here since the very beginning. My idea of what a passport bro should be, men that go overseas, is very simple, guys. You do it for the power of the dollar. You do it to be able to retire early. You do it to 10x your living conditions. That's the point. Then if you do get a woman, it's the cherry on top. Men are going strictly with their dick first, and then getting their balls chopped off in the process. This is what's happening. I've warned guys about this. Of course, goofy motherfuckers were always going to go overseas to look at it like, it's a shortcut to their problems, and they get absolutely destroyed. It's a shocker to nobody.
In just a few hours, he lands in Medellin. The heat slaps him in the face, and he knows he's somewhere completely different. And he wasn't the only one. There are about 8 to 9 single men also with him from America in queue near him, all likely going for the same reason. But he did know that over 1 million people visit this popular Colombian city every year. It's a tourist hotspot. He'd read about the world-class museums, the vibrant nightlife, and the stunning architecture. The weather was perfect all year round. The food's exceptional.
Yeah, it's all that. This is what they care about. When they go to Medellin, they go to like a open brothel out in the streets pretty much. These guys are all paying. Not all. I'm not going to say all, but the vast majority of the guys that go there on vacation are paying for pussy. I saw with my own eyes in Thailand. The vast majority of them are goofies that pay for pussy. That's what they and they do it under the passport bro name. Not many of these dudes meet any decent women because they're passing through places and no decent woman takes you seriously.
There's amazing coffee and everything costs a fraction of what you'd pay back home. But if we're being real, that wasn't the top of his mind right now. Marcus had more romantic plans. Romance tourism to cities like Medellin is a movement that spans continents and crosses borders. It's an entire industry of people foregoing relationships at home to take on something bolder and more fruitful abroad. Some actively embrace terms like passport bros, pushed by influencers with massive followings who've turned this lifestyle into a business. The Our Passport Bros subreddit has grown to over 80,000 members in just a few years, creating an international network where countries are ranked on maps and experiences shared for how great they are for men like Marcus. While Colombia has dominated the headlines, a few countries rank at the experiences
Let's see the map on. Very easy to date in the green, Southeast Asia, a lot of poor places, obviously, because you're using the insane wealth gap to your advantage. That's a real part of that shit. Most of Africa is just not even listed here, but then parts of it here are just extremely easy. Okay, very easy, like Southeast Asia, of course. Poverty, rampant. It says impossible to date in the red. Jeez Louise. Oh, they got Moldova in the impossible, huh? Interesting. And then hard to date is the orange, basically Eastern Europe. It's what I've been telling guys. I think for most dudes, if you're on the goofy scale a little bit, you're awkward with women, you don't got the best body, you're not tall, you're not Chad specimen, shit like that, you're struggling. I don't even think Europe's a good place to go, to be honest. If you're not doing really well, it's just the West, but on easier mode. You can get a really good woman if you yourself are doing really well and you have a preference for white. But I would go, if I was struggling in general, dude, it would be Latinas for me personally. I'd be in like Argentina or Uruguay or somewhere, right? I wouldn't be going to Colombia or Venezuela, all these like depressed, economically dangerous places. And, you know, if your preference is for Asians, it's Southeast Asia. Or, you know, there's like a bit of a mix, a combination. If you go out here in the stands, you know, Central Asia is a bit of a gem right now. Not many people are talking about it, but the few that have been, I've heard nothing but good things. And I'm talking more settling or at least extended stays where you're planting some form of roots down to get a good woman.
For how great they are for men like Marcus. While Colombia has dominated the headlines, a few countries rank at the top of the best locations for passport bros, from Thailand to Vietnam to the Philippines and Brazil and even Eastern Europe. Some men actually go to this community and showcase their success to get advice or actually provide some value to other men looking to do the same thing, but not everyone is lucky. And then there's the opportunists, making a commodity out of hundreds of people like Marcus and turning romance tourism into an industry that serves them, and not the vulnerable men they purport to care about. What Marcus didn't realize was that his arrival was predictable and hadn't gone unnoticed by those who'd learned to profit from young, vulnerable men. The digital pipeline that had delivered him here was just one side of an equation he didn't yet understand. But the course was set. One of the first things he did when he gets to Medellin was download Tinder. And suddenly like that, he was starting to get all these matches. Matches with women he could never get back at home. And this is when he matched with a beautiful looking woman named Camilla on Tinder. And she suggested meeting at Hotel Dan Carlton. She mentioned this had the best view in El Poblado, main place for expats in Medellin, adding, "You'll love it." But unbeknownst to Marcus, that one simple message would change everything. Camilla watched Marcus's face light up when he saw her. He was nervous and couldn't believe how attractive she was. But for Camilla, this was just another tourist, another rooftop bar, and another performance. She was just 24, but she'd been doing this for at least 2 years now. She studied nursing during the day. That part was always true when she told them. But in the evening, she worked a different kind of shift. She wasn't necessarily a prostitute, at least not exactly. She told herself that distinction mattered. She was more like a tour guide. Camilla put Marcus at ease, told him how excited she was to show him her city, and it wasn't entirely fake. He seemed kind, courteous, genuinely interested in what she had to say, and after a few drinks, she could see his confidence returning. In another life, maybe this could have all been real, but tonight was different for Camilla. She never let those thoughts get to her for too long, as she's been discussing a new technique with her friends the night before, something industrially efficient. Her friend Isabella had been using this for months. She'd shown Camilla the small vial of white powder, explaining how just a tiny amount could render a man completely compliant. With that, you can kill 10 people, but it's better in powder form. You rub it on their chest, Isabella explained. The substance came from the bolachero tree, drunken binge, that grew wild throughout Colombia. It produces beautiful white bell-shaped flowers that hang like lamps. In the West, it's better known as datura or the angel's trumpet, but Camilla knew it by a street name, Devil's Breath. Most call it scopolamine. It's tasteless, odorless, and you can hide it on a business card and just blow it in someone's face. And the results of this can be described as zombification. Within minutes, victims enter a state of zombie-like compliance. They'll hand over their valuables willingly, follow instructions without question, even withdrawing their money from ATMs with their captors standing right beside them. 50 milligrams of it can kill you, but deaths are pretty rare. Victims usually just stay compliant longer. Some reports still feeling the effects of the high for 15 days.
Duré 17 días viajando con otro parcero. Mi parcero se quedó en el viaje. El hermano hoy en día anda así en la calle.
When victims do eventually wake up, sometimes 24 hours later, they remember absolutely nothing. It literally blocks the neurotransmitters in the brain responsible for recording memory. The US State Department reports unofficial estimates of 50,000 scopolamine incidences per year in Colombia, more than 130 every single day. According to the National Police, a scopolamine attack occurs every 10 hours in Bogota, with police admitting the vast majority of incidences are men poisoned by women from small street gangs called micro-cartels. Camilla studied Marcus across the table as he talked about his work, his hopes for the trip, but he just had no idea what was coming, or that there was an entire industry preying on people like him. Was this coldly calculated? At this point, yes. She felt glimpses of something else, pity, maybe even guilt, but once again, she knew how to dull those doubts. After all, she hadn't planned for her life to turn out this way, and Marcus had come here looking for exactly this, right? Two different paths at the same table, and she wasn't really caring about what he was saying, it was just time to move. So she excused herself to the bathroom, dipped the end of a cigarette into the powder, then returned with a smile. When I step outside for some air, 15 minutes passed and she watched the change happen exactly as Isabella had described. Marcus looked up at her, confused for half a second, then with that glazed expression she'd been told to expect. Let's go somewhere quieter, she said. He nodded like a child and just followed her. Now by this point, Marcus clearly found himself in an extremely dangerous position as they got into the cab. He was sucked in, and you could even say lured in, by a powerful travel industry built around dating abroad. But behind the soft lighting, the palm trees, and the smiling local women in influencer videos is a huge growing business, one that turns male loneliness into views, subscriptions, and paid coaching funnels. Romance tourism has always been popular, but love is one of the most easily corrupted emotions, one of the main things you can manipulate men with, and it's manifested itself as an industry of mixed and often dark intent. Women abroad like Camilla are depicted as respectful to men in a way that those at home aren't. They're receptive, but some just depict them as just easy to pick up. Some have actually been accused of using the same women in their videos or paying them to join as a part of their marketing game. The same influencers who claim women in other countries respect men.
Yeah, there's a bunch of these guys that are overseas. I haven't covered a lot of their videos because they come off as corny as fuck, but they're just surrounding themselves with prostitutes. Legitimately, bro. And they're like, we're having a party and look at all these women and come here and I'll teach you how to talk to women. You're talking to prostitutes, bro. You went overseas to go pay to fuck women. That blows my mind. Fucking shit. Yeah, I don't cover it as much anymore because, I don't know. Send me interesting videos if you find them. I'm more interested in the guys that have actually made a good life overseas. It's just it's always old dudes on a pension, and that shit got boring. I don't give a fuck about a guy that's 65, his dick barely works, and then he pumps some fucking small 4-foot Asian chick and, got a kid, and now he's like, I feel great. I have a new lease on life. You're 65, bro. Your life bores me. Are there young guys like us? Are there dudes in their prime that are crushing it overseas? I'll watch those videos. Like, that stuff's interesting. But yeah, for the pensioners and the old heads retired overseas, happy for you, but shit's boring. I don't care to have my feet, kicked up and enjoy a fucking beer under some palm trees and just watch life, tick away. No thanks. In that building ambitious phase, I want to see guys like being industrious overseas, not just like poon hound obsessed either, but making shit happen.
More, or often the same ones who are seen with multiple women on each arm. They're picking up women in the street, showing how easy it is to hook up. Most of all, they just make it look so effortless. If you have a Western passport, you'll get the hottest women. You just stop them in the street, chat to them, and that's all you need to do. Even just doing this in English, not speaking their native language. Just be confident and it will all fall into place. Oh, and maybe pick up their course for $1,000 a month just to be sure you get all of their tips. The dangers of this just can't be ignored. Many warn followers to take a picture of a girl's ID before bringing them home. Some joke about getting scoped, drugged, and robbed, like it was just part of the adventure. For some, it's part of the thrill. You'd think people like Camilla would be more aware of these stories than Marcus, but the influencers tout these stories as if they were some funny holiday event. So Marcus never actually come home. People in Marcus's position, following the advice of men who apparently care about their love lives, have suffered horrible endings while in their pursuits of respectful women. Take the tragic story of Paul Nguyen, a 27-year-old logistics consultant from California who didn't return to his Airbnb after going on a Tinder date in 2022. He'd taken a Snapchat photo of his date, a slim brown-haired woman in a white jacket. The next morning, he didn't return to the Airbnb and his friends raised an alarm. It turned out that his credit card was used multiple times in odd late-night transactions. 12 hours later, his body was then discovered behind a trash bin 5 miles away from the bar.
The family of a young man from Orange County is struggling with their grief and at the same time trying to find out how and why he was killed while on vacation in Colombia.
Then there was Tao Xiong, a 50-year-old Minnesota comedian who called his family in December 2023 saying he needed $2,000 because he'd been kidnapped. The family then sent the money through PayPal immediately, but it wasn't enough. The next morning, his body was found at the bottom of a ravine near the Robledo district. He'd been tied, tortured, stabbed, and then thrown 206.
Is that worth it for a piece of pussy? Is that worth it? Are you so horny and dependent on the attention of women that you'll go to these destitute fucking places to smash these scrupulous women? Told you guys how to do this properly. Go overseas with a plan. Make sure you stay away from the big cities. If you do date in the big cities, make sure you're there for an extended period of time and that you get taken serious. The same applies here or there. No tattoos, no bull rings, no feminist mentality, no sloppy behavior. What's the relationship with the family like? How is she? Does she introduce you to the family after a few dates? Is she talking about marriage? Is she talking about children? Not these bitches that want to have fun nights out. Did you meet her in a bar? Did you meet her in a place you shouldn't be meeting people because decent people don't typically go there? The common sense shit will save your life. But the problem is, like I've said before, the moment your dick gets hard and a bitch tells you hello, you forget every fucking thing you've ever seen on this channel. And you get thrown 260 feet from a fucking ravine.
60 feet down a cliff. Other survivors described the same pattern. A 28-year-old businessman, also a victim of scopolamine in Colombia, told reporters, quote, "I matched with a girl on Tinder. Just another girl, I thought. Just another date. She took my iPad, my phone, my wallet, my credit cards, my ID, everything but my laptop." And if you're shocked by these two men dying in the pursuit of pleasure, it's more common than you might think. And this issue may lay a lot closer to home than imagined. Porn addiction will mentally kill you long before you reach the same fate as these guys. Quitter is on a mission to take over the industry, help men regain control of their lives, and finally break free from. You see, Camilla had actually tried OnlyFans as an escape route when she was younger, but this was way more effective. She was so close to finishing her nursing degree, but without tuition money, she'd have to drop out. Like so many countries targeted by romance tourists, most of the Colombian population is below the poverty line. Not many weeks ago, she created a first dating profile and joined a different kind of pipeline, a network of women targeting gringos. Not always Americans, but any foreigner with hard currency, who was naive enough to really believe they'd found true love. So here's what's really happening while you're watching these glossy, perfect influencer videos showing Colombia and other dangerous countries in a similar way. Local networks are working and studying these men who deliver these dreams. They want you to believe in an image so that they can milk you. The system for exploiting men on the ground.
Yeah, you have to look at it like this. I've spoken to some guys that were in Thailand and they said you're 20 years too late. The guys that are coming here are now getting women that are nowhere near wife material, starting family, having babies with. trash. They're already trained just like this on knowing when foreigners are here, what they want, what to say to them, the sweet nothings they'll whisper in your ear to extract maximum value out of you. For the simps, they're good with that because they get no play back home. So they'll go overseas, fuck some chicks, pay $20, $30, whatever the cost is, get their beak wet and go back and, rinse and repeat this process. And they'll go like, oh my God, bro, Colombia's such a vibe. It's like my life was a movie in Thailand. They're fucking bar girls and these nasty chicks catching all sorts of diseases. Who the fuck knows? And you need to go look for a place that isn't so populated with fucking tourists. If it's trending, it's probably a shitty place to go. Colombia, shitty place to go. Thailand, shitty place to go. If you're looking for something real. Now, if you want to have fun, that's the best place to go. You will have your fun. There'll be fun things to do. But for the guys that want something real, you have to avoid all the tourist traps. These countries are becoming massive tourist traps for dating. Go to the least or the less popular places and you'll do fine. My advice to you. Anyways, that was Moon's video. Say no to simping. The real issue is how many men feel they have to go to another country just to feel wanted. Is dating really that bad in Western countries? Yes, it really is. Sometimes when you think you're the customer, you're really the product just being sold. Yeah, that was a fire line. It's kind of pathetic that they're laughing about waking up not knowing what happened. That guy has to be coping through some sort of comedic relief. That's a terrifying prospect to have happened to anyone. Yeah, exactly. There's no laughing matter. It's fucking pathetic. It's just saying I was so horny. I thought I was about to get laid by some hot Colombian chick and I woke up with my shit missing, bro. Haha, look at me. That's so funny. Yeah, until you're missing a fucking organ or you go missing completely 260 feet down a ravine. Real fucking funny, bro. Real cool joke to laugh at. Keep your dick in your pants. Get your life in order first. Mind, body, spirit. The rest will come. Then you can travel and actually do well overseas. Until then, stay the fuck at home. Fix your mind. Fix your self-esteem and your self-respect. Get your body right. The rest comes after that. You try to shortcut this with life overseas, get ravined, bro. You will get ravined. But hey, no one likes the long way. No one likes the path the arduous journey that actually brings you to the quote promised land. We want the shortcut, bro. I want to do it in a hop, skip, and a step over there. And cool, top 5 ways to get a real bitch, to get laid, to get blowjobs every day. Yeah, that's the popular shit, right? 5 ways to get abs, right? It's 5 steps, 5-minute abs. Okay, dude. Okay. Wouldn't be hard to walk around here and show you nothing but dime pieces, straight whores, and videos of 2-3 women on my arm. And this shit's easy to do. That's easy. These women, they don't cost much. The area economically depressed. The vision, I could sell you on anything. A dream. Fuck, I could have a thing that I could just, if you pay me $10,000, bro, I'll show you how to get bitches in Eastern Europe. I will bring you to the best spots, make the connections, and I'll tell you exactly what to say and how to act. Shut the fuck up, bro. Shut the fuck up. That shit is disgusting. Jeez. Anyways, I don't want to get into this any longer. My wife is cooking me some lunch and I'm going to go eat. I'll see you guys on the next one.